So you mean to tell me that no African country wants the silly Malians? I was just watching, I don't even know what I was watching, but they said if certain African countries allow Somalians to come to their country, they're going to go to the streets because they don't want the Somalians. They don't want the Somalians in their country. Silly Malians. I thought y'all was the best. I thought y'all was smart. I thought y'all had that good hair. I thought y'all had that good nose. They don't want you in other African countries. They said go back to Mogadishu. Go back to silly Malia. Why don't y'all want to go back to silly Malia? So none of the other African countries want Somalians that are getting deported from the United States and other places.
What I think is basically they don't want to go back to their own country because their own country, one, doesn't want them, and their country is in a mess, in a total mess. And I think the thing about other countries wanting them, I think they're the one ethnic group that most countries don't want all over the world. And I think this has been a problem with them for a long time. And I'm not saying that's all Muslims, but I'm saying specifically Somalians. They have made a name for themselves all over this globe. And they continue to do so because they're loud and they're obnoxious and they feel that they're entitled in any country, but they're finding out they're not.
Giorgia Meloni is showing the entire Western world what real leadership looks like. While American politicians tie themselves in knots over political correctness, while they apologize for Western civilization, while they bend over backwards to avoid offending anyone, Italy just said enough is enough. Let me be very clear about what we're talking about here. This isn't about hatred. This isn't about bigotry. This is about survival. This is about a nation that finally decided to defend its culture, its values, and its way of life. And you know what the amazing thing is? The Italian people are behind her. Not the elites, not the academics in their ivory towers. The actual people who live in these communities, who send their kids to school, who walk the streets, they get it. So what exactly did Italy do? Well, in October 2025, Meloni's government introduced legislation that would ban the burqa and niqab in all public spaces. We're talking schools, universities, shops, offices everywhere. And before the usual suspects start screaming about religious freedom, let's talk about what this really means. The fines range from 300 to 3,000 euros. That's not a slap on the wrist. That's a
Now, that's one way to stop them. Italy is doing, I believe, the right thing for their country. And for, saying, hey, you can't wear the burqas in any public spaces. You can't wear them at certain events. You can wear them inside your home, but you can't wear them out in the community. That's a way, if countries want to get rid of people in their country, and I'm not saying that's what Italy wants to do, but they want to make it hard for these people to survive in Italy and assimilate in Italy, excuse me.
statement. But here's what makes this brilliant, and I mean truly brilliant. It's not just about the face coverings. The legislation tackles what they're calling Islamic separatism. Now pay attention to that term because it matters. Not integration, not assimilation, separatism. Because that's exactly what's happening across Europe. You have communities within communities living under different rules, different values, creating parallel societies, and Meloni's bill addresses the root cause. Religious organizations that don't have formal agreements with the Italian state, they now have to disclose all their funding sources. All of them. You know why that matters? Because for years, and I mean years, mosques across Europe have been funded by foreign governments with agendas that have nothing to do with the well-being of European citizens. Saudi money, Qatari money, money from countries that don't share Western values, funding institutions on Western soil. Think about that for a second.
Today, ICE is deporting these
And that is so true. You can't have all these different communities outside of the main community. That is the problem. And this is why you have these people who have been able to go to other countries and establish their own communities, like Somalians and some Muslims. But that shouldn't work in any country. It shouldn't work in no country. If you want to practice your religion and have separatism within within the country's main society, then guess what? Go to a Muslim country where you feel welcome. So this is what Italy is doing, and I think it's a bold move, but I think it's the correct move for them to say, hey, enough is enough. You have to assimilate, and you cannot have separate communities in our country, in our society. We're not going to have it. So they're outlawing the burqas and everything else. You cannot wear burqa in public. And that's a good way, I think, to start the process of getting people out of your country if they are not the same nationality or they're not the same ethnic background or the same, say, for instance, same as Italy. If you're not Italian, then you got to go.
Somalians who are suspected of running fake daycare centers in Minneapolis.
If Ruto agrees to take the deported Somalis into Kenya,
If President John Mahama agree to take these deported Somalians into Ghana, we are also going to go to the streets, of course. I agree with you, my sister. And you know, sometimes I say that you need to live the African experience to understand certain things. Now we hear what is happening in Minnesota. And we are not even saying that Trump is right or wrong. That is not what some of us are even talking about. But we are thinking, or we are watching how you are coming online and trolling Black Americans and trolling and making fun of whatever is happening. And you have some Africans supporting you to do whatever you are doing. Now they are deporting you. Now they are tracing your IP addresses because you said Minnesota was promised to you 3,000 years ago. We come online to do live streams and we tell you to stop. Because if you don't stop, it will affect you and it will affect a lot of Africans. Now it is even affecting Ethiopians. How dare you go to somebody's country? You have some of these diasporans supporting you. At the end of the day, these people are Black Americans. They will not be deported. You will be deported. So to those of you giving these people the energy and the engine to keep doing whatever they are doing, you see that they are supporting them. So do you think you are helping them or you are destroying them? And I don't even understand why is that when people are being deported, their own country doesn't want to accept them. If your own country doesn't want to accept you, why should another country accept you?
How do they do that with Islam, with in Xinjiang province and the others where there are Muslims out there?
Ruthless. In fact,
And this is a problem. Your own country, Somalia, doesn't even want you. No country wants you. And you continue to act like there's nothing happening. You continue to go about your business and do the same foolish things and the same crazy things that you've been doing. Not in just America, but in the UK, in Sweden, and China, and doing the same thing all over the globe. And this is why you're despised by most people. You are despised by most people. Even some of your own people in your own religion, they despise you because You are an arrogant people for what? There's no sense in no sense in a Somalian being arrogant when you come from nothing. Just like President Trump said, you come from nothing. How can you come over here to America and demand anything? And this is a problem with a lot of people coming over to America. They want to get online and attack black people, and black people can't be deported. And I'll tell you this, whenever an immigrant, whenever you come over to America, you better do one thing, two things. Do not attack Americans, and especially do not attack black Americans, because you're going to get your lunch handed to you and say goodbye. We'll see you. The thing is, a lot of immigrants made that mistake. Spanish people made that mistake. A lot of other ethnic groups, some Africans made that mistake. And Somalians made that mistake. And you see what's happening to people now. They're getting deported. So the African diaspora from other countries, do not support these people, because they will stab you in the back and they will laugh behind your back. They thought black people were going to have them. See, well, we play the best psychological game there is. You cannot come to America and then talk about black people. It ain't going to work, because black people will hold a grudge. And when it's time for you to come say, why don't black people support us? That happened with a lot of ethnic backgrounds, with Hispanics and other groups. And so, why do you not support us? Oh, I don't think so. You don't talk about us on one hand, and you don't talk about America on one hand, and then come to America and then say, oh, well, we need your support. Not going to work. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
Not allowed to do fasting, during Ramadan. Can you imagine? You're not allowed to name your children like Muhammad and, all the classic Muslim names, anything associated with Islam. You can give secular names. And party officials are forced to eat. Also, during our Sagadawa, which is like Buddha Jayanti month, we do fasting. All the party officials, you're forced to attend your office, sit down together during lunch, and you are forced to eat. That controlling. So that's why, there was a huge protest. It continues to have protests in Xinjiang. That's why the Chinese government found it so unbearable that they put, around 2 to 3 million people in quote unquote concentration camps, essential labor camps. They don't allow you to practice.
And this is what happened. China is trying to ban Islam. They'll put you in concentration camps if they don't have anything, if they don't have anywhere for you to go, if they don't see that you're assimilated into their society in China. Oh, they will put you in concentration camps in a minute. And America is actually doing that now. They're putting people in sort of like detention centers, but they're actually concentration camps. That's exactly what they are. And America will do that too. If they can't deport you, they will put you in a concentration camp. America has done it before.
I can go live wherever I want. Well, then go live in Somalia. Kenyans, we need to get
then go live in Somalia. This is what I don't understand about Representative Omar. I can go live anywhere I want. They're all over your back here. They're red hot on your trail. They're trying to denaturalize you. They're trying to find out exactly where you got this $30 million in less than a year and a half or whatever. This is a problem. And you're funding your husband's company and putting money into that. Maybe the money that you stole from America, your people stole from America. This is an ongoing problem with her. If you want to go, look, they don't need you. America doesn't need you as a representative. And some of your people in the local government stealing money and putting money into their own companies, like the mayor or the senator of Minnesota. This is an ongoing problem with these people, and they don't seem to get it. until people stand up, these countries stand up and say, we got to say goodbye to you. Good luck to you. You can't, what's the old saying? You can't stay here. You can't go, you don't have to go home, but you have to get the hell out of here. That's what countries are saying.
One is we need to pray. We really need to pray. Do you know why we need to pray? We need to pray that the Somalis in Minnesota, they don't get deported. Please, God, don't let the Somalis in Minnesota to be deported. Just find a way to sweep this thing away so that it will never get here. Because Kenyans, my friend, if the Somalis are deported, what we are going to see here in Kenya and in Nairobi, it's going to be massive. Trust me, it's going to be massive. Our government is not disciplined. Our government is corrupt to the core. And you can go and do your maths, calculate it. Look at where corruption, it has doubled, I don't know, triple, I don't know how I can call it, since the borders, they were open in 2002. Do you know what I'm trying to talk about? If you go to Isili and you do your research, the amount of corruption, the control of our government, which happens in Isili, my friend, we will.
So this is the thing. This is a Kenyan woman saying, we don't want them here. It's going to blow up the economy. But our country, our officials are corrupt. And what she means by that, that if in fact somebody offers them money to come to Kenya or be deported to Kenya, or if their president says, come on in, as long as you give us some money, that's how corrupt the country is. The problem is with that is that countries, and I'm not saying I'm not saying Kenya is a poor country, but you have officials, as she was saying, that are corrupt and they'll do anything for money. This is my problem with Somalians. There's no country that really wants Somalians. They may take on certain Muslims, but Somalians have they just have a death wish on them. You know, they have it is like a death wish. It's almost like we don't want them. Don't send Somalians to our country. It's like everybody feels that they are pirates, they're thieves, and there are people not deserving to be in these countries. They need to either go back to Somalia or go somewhere in that area of the Horn of Africa. I don't know. Build your own country. It seems as if you've stolen enough money from other countries to build your own country in the Horn of Africa. So this is my concluding comments. When you come to America, do not talk about Black Americans and Americans, or people can't be deported. That goes for every migrant or every immigrant or everybody's on TPS. Make sure you don't come to America and talk about America's a terrible country, America's this, talk about white Americans, talk about Black Americans. It's not going to work. And this is what Somalians have done wrong. They have done the just the craziest thing in terms of trying to come into this country and be part of this country. You cannot separate yourself in these countries. That's what countries are telling you. We're banning burqas. We're banning your dress. The way you dress, we're banning that. We don't want mosque in our country. At one point, countries are welcoming that, but they're not doing it anymore. So the problem is when you go abroad and you go outside your country, how can you ever come to another country and insist and demand that people follow or appreciate your values? How can you do it? It's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. And this is the first time I believe, maybe once or twice, maybe 100 years ago, people have come to America and said, "Oh, we want Sharia law in America." What kind of thinking? This is why they call these people low IQ people, because one, they don't have any critical thinking skills. Two, common sense is not so common with them. And three, they continue to push this narrative that they are just one of the chosen one. They are not part of the chosen. They are not. So this is the thing. To sum it up, these people all over the world are nomads. They're nomads and they don't have a temporary home. They just don't. Nobody wants them. They don't have a temporary home, and they're become widely hated by the rest of the world. Widely hated. So, and I don't think it's going to change. The values of what they're pushing, what the men in this religion is pushing against children, against women, I don't think it's going to work in the long run. But whatever they do, all we could say is "C'est la vie" in America. You don't have to go home, but you have to get the hell out of here.